Get ready to dive deep into Buffalo's vibrant music scene because we're stepping inside the fabulous Flamingo Lounge for the 8th season of Local Music Magic. In the Flamingo Lounge with Rockabilly Greg is more than just a podcast. It's a collection of stories that delves deep into the vibrant musical history of Buffalo and Western New York, creating a living archive where each story adds a unique thread to the overall narrative. This season, we're taking a deep dive into the heart of the music community. Join us for personal conversations with musicians and industry pros where we celebrate the collective creativity that makes our favorite artists, venues, and events so special. But before we get started, I'd like to give a big shout out to our sponsors, CatsLikeUs.com, Diamond Hawk Golf Course and Pub, and valued supporter Buffalo Ironworks for helping to keep the music alive. Andrew Loefke, also known as Loaf or Andy 13, is a veteran bassist and vocalist with decades of experience in rock and roll. His sound is heavily influenced by British blues, East Coast punk, and psychedelic rock, resulting in a heavy, loud, and relentless musical style. Loefke is an active member in the Buffalo, New York music scene, currently performing with 6 bands: Chloroform, Iron Fist, Tombstone Hands, Shoot Ya, Cowboy Vampires, and Bitey. Yep. He also regularly organizes and participates in one-off projects and short-term musical events for charity and tributes. Music runs in his family, with his grandfather, Alvin Loefke, being a professional pedal steel player who had charted songs in the 1950s. Loefke's career began early. He was playing clubs by the age of 12 and touring North America in his 20s. Throughout his career, he has released multiple records, worked as a session musician, and even composed music for a ballet. In addition to his performance career, Loefke spent over 8 years as the front-of-house sound production manager of the well-known music venue, Mohawk Place. It is my pleasure to welcome to the Flamingo Lounge, Andrew Loefke.
How you doing?
Andrew, I'm doing great. How you doing?
Really good.
Yes, thanks for coming down. This is our
great.
First time meeting each other. It's cool as social media works. I know you reached out. You said, "Hey, man, let's."
Well, the Jim Wynn thing.
Yeah,
Jim's been a good friend and a role model.
Mm-hmm.
You can walk in. Jim's playing bass, polyphonic, keyboards, and singing.
Right.
And at the same time, he can hold a full conversation with you and know everything you've done since you saw him the last time.
Right.
It's like, this guy's a mutant.
Yeah.
And every time I talk to him, like, hey, there's a couple things I'd like to work on.
Right.
It's not in my bag of tricks. Let's do some lessons.
Mm-hmm.
He laughs. He says, you don't need any lessons. Let's just get together, have a beer and play.
Right. Yeah.
And I love Jim. Great guy.
Yeah. No, Jim is a great guy. So I met Jim through the Buffalo Music Hall of Fame. Which
Excellent.
is kind of how I got started here in the local music scene. But enough of me. So I want to get to the standard opening question that I always ask everybody: is did you have an aha moment when you said music's what I want to do?
I absolutely did.
Mm-hmm.
And it's connected to my grandfather Al.
Mm-hmm.
When I was really young, my parents were still together, and I still saw both sides of my family.
Sure.
We'd go to my grandfather's house. He had a little house in Hamburg. His hot rod was sitting in the driveway, and his young wife was making tea and sandwiches. And he would take me into his music room where he had a wall of speakers,
mm-hmm.
and he had posters, Hank Williams, all the cool guy, old guy stuff. And he would sit down and take the cover off the pedal steel, and he'd turn everything up as loud as he could get it, and he would play.
Wow.
And sometimes he'd play little country stuff or little blues licks or even rock and roll stuff. And at like 4 or 5 years old, I'd sit there and this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
And he would always eventually say, some kind of variant on this, but the idea was the same. He's like, you don't understand what this is.
Right. And
eventually around 15, 16, somewhere in there where I'd already started playing a bit.
Okay.
Same thing happened, sat down. By that point, he wasn't smoking cigarettes anymore. And he starts playing, and now he's doing stuff that he knows I listen to.
Okay.
So he's playing Black Sabbath licks.
Wow.
He's doing speed metal stuff, all on a pedal steel.
Wow.
And this little old guy,
Yeah.
And I said the same thing. This is what I want to do.
Right.
And he says, listen, this is the worst decision you can make. But if this is what's in you, you can't not do it.
Right.
So, if you're cursed, you're cursed.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to tell you.
Exactly.
And that's always stuck with me. Whether, you're sleeping in the back of a van outside of Quebec City and it's below 30 degrees,
Right.
0, you're miserable, you're dirty, you're hungry, you have no cigarettes,
Yeah.
or you're looking out off the stage at Irving Plaza to a packed house and you know every face that you can see.
Mm-hmm.
His voice is always back there in the very back of my brain going, this is what you do.
Right.
And it's being a musician, I've turned my back on things that I was good at, that I thought was for me, whether it was college or jobs or even some relationships. And I'm going to be a rock star. I'm going to be a dirtbag bass player and, party out and do all the dumb shit.
Yeah.
And 30, it's been 34 plus years now. I'm still doing it.
Wow.
I've learned some things, but not much.
Right.
Not much that's productive.
Right.
But it's been great. The first club I played in and got paid for was Tudor Lounge.
Okay.
And I remember walking in there and like, man, this place is a dump. And, it smells funny and it's dirty. And look at that guy passed out in the corner.
Right.
And the guys I was playing with at the time, blues guys, and they're like, don't worry about any of that. Make sure you hit it on the one.
Right.
And when it comes to the end of the song, do the thing.
Right.
Like, yeah, okay. And I played there a little bit, once in a great while. But at that point, a friend of mine's dad on Armour Duels Road in Orchard Park had this big barn, and he would have like Tommy Z play.
Right. Okay.
So of course we're all there. We all had our little bullshit, garage bands, punk bands, whatever. Yeah. And Tommy would pull me up on stage, or he'd pull my buddy up on stage, and we'd do a song or two. And one of those parties, might have been Tommy, might not have been. When I got on stage, I was handed a glass of whiskey and a joint. And like, if you're going to play this kind of music, you might have to be able to do it this way.
Right.
It's like, yeah, okay. And did the thing. That show was actually recorded and they put it out. I didn't know I was on it for years.
Wow.
And somebody's like, hey, your name's on that jacket. What are you talking about?
Right.
No, it's right there. And here's the date and the place.
Right.
Oh yeah, that's my buddy Gary's place. And yeah, I know the night. Because at the end of the night, we all took acid.
Don't do that at home, kids.
No, that's not condoning any of that. But
that's right.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that was early days, and that's like in popular culture at the time. That was just before Marilyn Manson. 9 Inch Nails was finally filtering in to outside of the goth clubs or the DJ scene. And we're talking before the internet. Like the internet was just a thing, and it was for rich people, and it was like CompuServe, you know. So you had message boards and some basic email.
Sure.
We had a rich friend who was a weird kid. He had CompuServe, and we'd use it for jackass things. We'd send these stupid emails thinking we were funny, and it's like just dumb. Yeah. But like the Misfits, we found the Misfits around that time.
Wow. Okay.
We found Black Flag. All those really important things. And, now all these years later, it's a very different kind of insertion because and I'm not saying it's better or worse, but you don't have to have a cool older brother.
Right.
You don't need the cool, weird art teacher to be like, hey, here's a mixtape, kid.
Right. Yeah.
Now you can just go on Facebook or Pandora or whatever and, type in something. I want to hear songs about, B movies and dead girls. Right. And okay, cool. You'll get the Misfits and 30 other horror punk bands, which is great. Right. It's awesome. But when I was a kid, like when we got old enough, we could beg a ride. We go to New World Records. We go to Home of the Hits, and we dig through the used section. Sure. Like, oh, that's a cool cover. Yeah. And at Home of the Hits, one of the workers, he wasn't nasty about it, but sometimes we bring stuff up and he'd look at it and be like, no, you're not buying this.
No.
And he'd put it under the counter. Like,
right.
What are you talking about? Like, I'm not even explaining. You're not buying this.
Right.
And sometimes it'd be like, go over in that rack and get this one. Mm-hmm. And without a doubt, it was always like, this is really important. For me, one of those things was it was Andy Sex Gang, British goth band, later Batcave stuff. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't that they were great, but it opened the door to all these other things that connected rockabilly, and it connected punk rock, and it connected the weird British and European underground thing. Mm-hmm. And it was bizarre, like Alien Sex Fiend and, mm-hmm. all that weird, cool stuff.
Right.
And at the same time, like for money, I'm playing blues a little bit, mm-hmm. and, okay, whatever. But it was like, man, this is kind of lame.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. The dude's up there with the guitar and he plays some licks and he sings a bit, and like,
yeah,
we do this stuck end and, we're out. Mm-hmm. And, I was putting together garage bands. The first real one was Children in Heat.
Okay.
And we were a horror punk band before they were calling it that.
Okay.
And like we would do Misfits tunes, and we tried
mm-hmm.
to do Ramones, and we play a little Black Flag, but we did, we cut our first EP with a guy in Batavia, Raw Underground Talent Records, RUT.
Okay.
We got connected to him through a guy who worked at a gas station where we would buy beer underage.
Right.
Which, again, don't do that.
Yeah, don't do that, kid.
And like it was this weird organic thing. Mm-hmm. We talked to him over the phone. Mm-hmm. He's like, listen, come out to the studio. We'll do 6 or 8 hours. Throw me $200.
Right.
And if we get something good, cool. If not, whatever. You're out $200.
Right.
So we took back beer bottles and
mm-hmm.
we dug through the couch cushions and, because we didn't have no money.
Yeah.
And we got it together and we took all our gear out there, and we had never met him in person. Mm-hmm. So we go into this house, beautiful, nice, fairly new house, split level. Mm-hmm. And in the split and in the basement was the studio.
Okay.
So we set up all our crap in the big room, and the dude's just like observing us. Mm-hmm. And 3 of us pull out cigarettes and we're smoking in the studio. Mm-hmm. And like in retrospect, it's like, that's what that look was. Mm-hmm. He's like, who are these lunatic idiot kids mm-hmm. that are now in my really nice studio space,
right.
smoking, drinking, knocking stuff over. Mm-hmm. Their gear smells like it's burning. Mm-hmm. I don't know that they've slept. I don't know. Like, it's just whatever. And we set up all the stuff, and he's like, well, I'm just going to mic it and we're going to let you do. Mm-hmm. Cool. Mm-hmm. We don't know what the regular process is. Like, the couple recordings we did were with headphones hanging from the ceiling, plugged into a microphone jack on a cassette deck.
Right.
Sounded terrible, but mm-hmm. it's what we had done.
Right.
So we start playing, and we're not paying attention to him. We're not mm-hmm. paying attention to his helper dude. We're doing the thing. And we come to the end of a song, and he comes out of the control room, and he's got this weird look on his face. Like, what's up, man? What do you think? He says, you guys are amazing, but you're fucking idiots.
Yeah.
We had knocked over an ashtray.
Oh. We
had spilled a beer. Like
right.
all the party foul idiot things.
Right.
But in this guy's studio.
Yeah.
We cut 5 songs in 2 hours, mm-hmm. and we left. We didn't even take the rest of the time. Mm. He mixed it for a couple days, mm-hmm. And we found out later, Fred Betchen, who's now at GCR, he did the mastering.
Okay.
And Fred's been involved in almost everything that was my project that I've done.
Oh, wow.
Maybe we'll talk about that again later. Yep. But we ended up releasing 4 of the songs. Mm-hmm. We did a Misfits song, we did a Beatles song, and we did 2 of our own.
Okay.
One of them was called Princess Di. It was about Princess Diana. She had just died.
Right. Okay.
We had the song for about 3 or 4 years by that point, but we didn't have the right lyrics, and they would change.
Mm-hmm.
When she died, our singer sat down and wrote the 3 verses in like 2 minutes.
Wow.
And all of a sudden it was like, holy shit, this is great.
Right.
We did end up changing them when we released our second record. We re-recorded it. There was, how do I say this? There was an insensitive line regarding Elton John and homosexuality. And at the time that it was written, we didn't think anything of it.
Right.
And when we revisited it, and shortly thereafter, when we started playing a lot more shows, we changed it at that point.
Right.
We had gay friends that were part of our regular group. And the 4 of us that were the band, we were very much outsider kids.
Right.
And to us, if you were another outsider, regardless of what it was, you were with us.
Right.
You know, we would stand up for you. It didn't matter. And that's something I'm proud to, I'm still very much that guy. You know, sometimes I have to remember, like, you're a past middle-aged white guy. Sometimes it's not on you to say something. Right. But you can still be supportive, and you can still be, you know, you can still fight that good fight. But that EP was the beginning of a long career with that small indie label. Wow. I ended up doing some engineering. I would do session work. We recorded stuff for Chris Trapper.
Oh, yeah.
Push Stars.
Yeah.
I've
had Chris on the podcast.
Chris is an excellent dude. Yeah.
Yeah, he's great.
When he moved to Boston, he was living with Brian Quinn, who plays in a handful of my bands. They all moved up there together, and it was Trapper. It was another dude who ended up in Japan and learned Japanese luthier work. Okay. Another guy, Puth, he's in TV music production. And he's worked on big stuff. Right. And then 3 of the guys that were in Quinn's band, which was called Old Pound, they were all there. And they joked, they're like, well, everybody else made it big but us. Like, you guys had the same band for like 28 years. Quinn and the viol player, he's a Fredonia guy. Okay. He plays in the original Bitey band with us on guitar. Okay. It's the first he's played guitar in 20 some odd years. Wow. So everything's full circle and everything's interconnected.
Exactly. No, who's that from Fredonia?
His name's Brian Walnicki. He grew up in Elma, but he's been in Fredonia for long time. Okay. His wife and his mother-in-law have a law office right in the middle of downtown. Okay. I don't remember the name. Right. But great people. Yeah. Great musicians. And like, Brian and I have been playing together for probably 4 or 5 years before we made the Chris Trapper connection. He's like, I remember when he came to Batavia and cut that record. Yeah, I was there for the mix. Right. I was supposed to play bass on it, but there was a transportation issue, whatever. The other punk rock bass player from the label ended up doing it. But yeah, we worked with Dropkick Murphys. We worked with all the guys from Rancid at different times. In fact, we were releasing live recordings of Lars and the Bastards and Dropkick so they could get better deals. Okay. You know, it was a magic, stupid time. And just by dumb luck, you know, like, hey, shit, I'm in the middle of this, you know? Yeah. Dummy from Buffalo playing bass and getting
Now,
stupid.
where in Batavia was that? I lived in Batavia for 10 years. And...
So just outside in Pembroke.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
Route 20 and I can't remember the name of the little crossroad there. But yeah, Dan Basinski. Okay. He had a band for years called Balchi Psychotics. That's evolved into Cowboy Vampires, which I played in Balchi's on the road. Okay. And I'm in Vampires now. And again, the guy who was the bass player for the last years of Balchi's, he was in the thrash band that we toured in. He washed out of that. I ended up in.
Mm-hmm.
Cowboy Vampires became Cowboy Vampires. He was in, he was out. He finally washed out. The guy fronting it's like, hey, you know all my music for the last 25 years. What do you think?
Right.
Sure, man. And it was like putting on old shoes. Like,
Mm-hmm.
oh yeah, I know the formulas, I know the notes, and I know when you're gonna fuck up.
Right.
Like it's great. Yeah. And the thrash band was the guy who owned the studio, a guy named Sean Bailey,
Mm-hmm.
and then it was me in it for the last bunch of years. We were on the road like 200 days out of the year. We were doing like the last year we were scheduled to do 12 weeks with Wasp. We did 5.
Mm-hmm.
There was a bunch of business problems. Like it just all of a sudden it got stupid.
Sure.
We're in Detroit, and it's like, we should probably go home.
Mm-hmm.
And we did.
Mm-hmm.
The other support band tried to keep on. It just everybody got sued. The West Coast management sued everybody. Wasp sued everybody. And when we got the notices, like we've held up our contract, like, no, you can take your lawsuit away.
Right.
And that was that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's stupid stuff, man. But we were out, like, we did stuff with Anthrax. We did stuff with Dokken. And it was cool. Like, I was never into those bands. I was aware of them. I'd hear them. I had friends that were like, oh man, Kiss is great and Wasp is great. And like, yeah, sure. Whatever. But for me, like all the stuff that I grew up listening to was either like British blues, British rock, or the stuff that it came from.
Right.
And then when I got old enough, it was East Coast punk, and it was like the dirty psychedelic stuff, Hawkwind, Cactus, Blue Cheer. And it was never, none of it was like, this is what I'm going to go see. It was just dumb luck.
Right.
I was living on Seneca Street in my late teens, early 20s, and tending bar, partying, doing dumb stuff. And I met this dude, Hippie Dave. He had a Les Paul, he had a full-size Marshall,
right,
and he had a great record collection. So he found out I was a bass player through somebody. Oh, come on over. I got these songs demoed out. I need some bass. So go over there, and we'd drink beers, and we'd never get to doing the thing.
Sure.
And then he'd be like, oh, I made you a tape. Oh, I made you a CD. Oh, here's a record. And that's how I came to know Budgie outside of what Metallica had done on Garage Days. And like, Crash Course in Brain Surgery and Bread Fan, great songs. But when you hear the originals, it's like, wow, these Metallica dudes suck. They couldn't play the hard part of the song, or they couldn't play the slow part. Like, holy shit.
Right.
And, once he realized I was really digging on those guys, he gave me all 38 records that they had at the time.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, whoa, what do I do with this?
Yeah.
And then that made the connections with like all the British proto metal, because everybody would go see Budgie in Wales, try to cop whatever they could, go back to their band, and like Iron Maiden stole the Gallop. Motorhead stole the Real Simple Blues thing, but overdriven with pick scratching and crazy.
Okay.
All the British metal bands stole the Icon. They had a little Budgie bird on every record.
Right.
And like the third record, it was a robot. 2 years later, Iron Maiden releases Somewhere in Time, and Eddie's a robot. And it's like the same artwork.
Right.
And then, in my stupid fog brain, I start making the connections. It's like Rush's Canadian Budgie, bass player singing, high voice, amped up blues. Holy shit. Okay, cool. Budgie is not that much different than Blue Cheer. Again, bass player singing, high voice, balls out, crazy, overdriven madness. And that's really most of what I've done my whole life.
Yeah. Oh, that's wild.
Stupid.
Yeah. So I want to go back a little bit because I want to ask you a couple questions about your grandpa.
Sure.
And, you said he recorded some stuff. So who was he recording with back in those days?
Back in those days, the band he was in was called the Southern Comforts.
Okay.
You can find them all over YouTube.
Right.
And he was physically recording with Rambling Lou.
Okay.
And Lou was a great dude.
Yeah.
My grandfather would be in the studio, sometimes playing the Sunday morning band, know, live on the air. He was releasing solo stuff that did fairly well regionally.
Okay.
He was playing with the Southern Comforts. They had a #1 in 54 or 55.
Okay.
The song's called CB Baby. It's trucker music 20 years before they had it.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
Phenomenal. And he played with those guys for quite a while. It was two brothers that came from Alabama, and they hooked up with him and the drummer that he was regularly playing with, and they formed that band.
Right.
And then all through the 60s and 70s, and I think into the 80s, he was a union card carrying musician.
Right.
And he would be the guy like, oh, Charlie Pride's going to play these 6 cities.
Okay.
My grandfather would be the guy.
Okay.
We've someone in my family, depending who you talk to, the person changes.
Sure.
But someone's got boxes of his reel-to-reel tapes. His original really nice pedal steel got stolen.
Oh.
But his show bud is still bouncing around in the family. I don't know if my dad has it or if my grandfather's third wife has it.
Oh, okay.
If my dad has it, I'll never see it.
Right.
If his third wife has it, it'll eventually end up in my room. I don't know how to play it.
Right.
But, be like, that's Grandpa's.
Yeah.
His amps are gone. He had sold his big amps. His hot rod was gone.
Wow.
Well, he got to a point, and this is another thing that sticks with me. He got to a point where people would be like, well, when are you going to hang it up, or when are you going to let somebody set up your gear? When are you going to get a roadie? It's like, I'll be damned if anyone's going to set up my stuff.
Right.
Because the day I can't move my gear is the day I can't play. And he was pretty on it.
Right.
He couldn't drive his gear around anymore, and he was dead about 6 weeks later.
Wow.
He was 83, 84.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
And he couldn't bowl anymore either.
Right.
So,
okay.
He's like, Yeah.
And he got a good run. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I can only hope.
Yeah. I hear you. Oh,
and he smoked and he drank and he used weed a little bit. And but that was his main job most of his life.
Right.
He worked part-time at Bethlehem Steel, I think doing security. But he was a player.
Right.
5 nights a week.
Yeah.
Twice on Sunday. Sometimes church music, sometimes bluegrass. And when I got into heavy metal and, speedier music.
Sure.
He'd laugh. He says, you think you kids came up with that?
Yeah.
Just check this out. And he'd do some crazy stuff. Like, but these guys use drugs, and it's like, we've all been on speed for 50 years. We've all been taking, black beauties and whatever. Like, you kids don't know nothing. About a year before he passed, maybe 2, we're with the thrash band Liquid Violence. We were demoing for a new record, and we had like 3 songs. The pedal steel would have been the thing. And I kept calling him, come on out. You don't know how to play. Like, well, come out and show us. And you miserable old bastard.
Right.
It's like, no, you don't understand. It's like, a couple chords and a couple licks and you know how to riff, but you really don't know how to play. You don't know how it comes together. And my one regret with him is he passed before I could really work on him and be like, come on.
Yeah.
Just show me some of the magic, you rat bastard.
Yeah. No, I get where you're coming from. So, yeah.
Stupid.
Yeah. Crazy stuff. No, so like out of high school, were you Did you go to college? What were you doing? Did you just kind of get right into it? And
So I graduated from Orchard Park in 97.
okay.
I had a boatload of art classes. I was in all these advanced, like, history and, that kind of stuff, but I was a shit student.
Right.
I did just enough to pass. I did just enough to keep the wolves from the door. And, the rest of the time it was like, no, I'm going to play music or I'm going to work.
Right.
And really by mid high school, working music, I was trying to make the same thing. Sometimes it happened, sometimes it didn't. That's still true. But I graduated high school. I went to ECC South for a semester. I was going to get a graphic arts degree because it was a way to make my art commercial.
Yep.
And I didn't know, another dumb kid thing. But I go into ECC right as the transition from you needed to know goldenrod and enlargement and, all your filters and your red, all that stuff to, we have Apple II machines now.
Yeah.
And even though the screen's purple,
this
is what we're doing layout on.
Exactly. Yep.
Really? Like, give me the goldenrods and give me the Sharpie marker and I can give you Rolling Stone.
Sure.
But I don't know, it was a couple weeks into that semester, like our business teacher quit coming. I got thrown out of the digital layout class. The only teacher that I was really cool with was the head of the department. His name was Mario something. And he pulled a couple of us aside that he knew, like, we knew what we were doing.
Right.
I was printing t-shirts and concert posters and tickets already.
Right.
And he says, listen, I hate to be this guy, but everything you know how to do, it's only going to be good for what you're doing now.
Right.
As far as making this a job, you're in there at the wrong time. You're too young to be a dinosaur.
Right.
And you're too old to really do this at the cutting edge.
Right.
It's like you should have been taking computer classes all through high school. So I walked.
Right.
Bounced around for a few months. And right around then is when we cut the EPs. And we did a big record label show at the Mogador Hilton out near Batavia. And we all played on a tractor trailer bed in a field for hillbillies. It was great.
Sure. Yeah.
And literally I walked off the stage, threw my bass in the back seat, and I moved to Cleveland. And I was supposed to go to art school. I had been accepted. Like, I had figured out the first semester, had a good idea for the second semester. I actually moved there with a woman. And I got there and I didn't go to school. I just didn't go.
Right.
So a week or so went by, and I went to a couple auditions. I auditioned for a klezmer band, a traditional klezmer band. Went to this beautiful temple, all the things. And I walk in with my ratty leather jacket, and black jeans with motor oil on them. And I got grease under my fingernails. I'd done a brake job or something that day. And I got my bass that's all burned up from a car fire. And I've got this ugly PV monstrosity amp head, tubes, and a 412 cabinet that's covered in who knows what. And the guy just kind of like, are you in the right place? Well, this is the klezmer thing, right? Yeah. Do you know how to do this? Oh, yeah, no problem. So he gives me the sheet music, and he's got backing tracks playing on a cassette. And I could play it, no problem. And he was shocked. And we come to the end of the playing portion. Then we just talk. He says, now, I appreciate your ability, but you're super young. I'm not even 19.
Right. Okay.
He says, you look like a scumbag. And your gear is completely not going to work.
Right.
Like, this is not proper. Like, well, what are you telling me? Well, you got to cut your hair. Not happening. You got to get a smaller, clean sounding little combo amp. So again, unless you buy it,
right,
it's not happening. and you need a bass that isn't burned up and looks like it's going to fall apart. I said, I ain't got that money.
Right.
And if you can loan me the money for the gear, I have no problem paying it back if it's a real gig. Mm-hmm. But I ain't cutting my hair. I'll wear whatever stupid suit you want. Mm-hmm. I'll put it back. Like, I'll even wear the yarmulke, whatever, you know. Yeah. I'm part Jewish, okay. You know, not practicing or anything, but like, you know, it's not a problem. Mm-hmm. You know, it's not even like, no, I can't do that. That's weird. And he's like, no, this is not for you. Mm. And I struggled in Cleveland for about a year and a half. And I was in Buffalo more often than I was in Cleveland to play shows and practice and be in the studio. And I came home from work. I was doing overnights at a Denny's. Yeah. Waiting tables for dirtbags, you know, 3 o'clock in the morning. And I came home and I was supposed to have left to come back to Buffalo for a show. And I decided to wait for my girlfriend to come home before I come to Buffalo. She walked in the house with another dude. Oh. So it's like, that sucks. Yeah. And I packed a bag and I came back home and I stayed here for, I don't know, about 6 or 8 days. Mm-hmm. I found an apartment. I found a job. Met with all the guys that I was playing with in the Children Heat band regularly. Mm-hmm. And it's like, hey, I'm going to be back. So book whatever. You know, now it's not about, well, when can he come home? Mm-hmm. Like, doesn't matter. Book it at 2 o'clock in the morning. I don't care. Right. And we started hitting really hard again. We were playing like 658 Main had just opened back up. Mm-hmm. It used to be the King Snake. Continental was still barely there. Right. The Atomic was still there. Jupiter Room was still there. We played them all. Mm-hmm. For that last year and a half at Continental, we were the idiots that they could call the day of. Mm-hmm. Oh, well, we'll put you on at 3 o'clock in the morning for 40 minutes. Yeah. Okay, cool. Right. You know, give us more than 2 beers. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, no problem. Mm-hmm. And we get all shitty and, you know, there'd be vomit and there'd be stuff running out of your nose and all the things. We're the last band. That was the era of, if we were playing your club was probably in trouble. We were the last band to play Jupiter Room, right, in the Atomic. We played the night before the last night at Continental. Okay. We were the last band at the Basement Bar, which was 2 doors down. Mm-hmm. We were the last band at the VFW Hall in Tonawanda that used to do all the big, you know, Battle of the Band kids things. Right. Yeah. We were the last band at the entertainment complex that had the floor hockey on the second floor. Mm-hmm. And I don't know what the deal was, but it was just, you know, it like people say The Simpsons is cursed. You know, sure. if you go on there, you're going to die. Right. We started to say, yeah, we'll come play, but your bar might close. Mm-hmm. There was one down on Abbott Road that was like a metal bar. Mm-hmm. We were the last band to play there. Mm-hmm. There were 3 bands supposed to play after us, but the PA exploded in the middle of our set and they couldn't do. Right. Weird time. You know, real weird time. And then we cut our second record, which there was a lot of interpersonal crazy problems. We got thrown out of the studio. Mm-hmm. We had been in the studio for, I want to say, almost 2 weeks, and we didn't have anything cut. So we got thrown out. The guy who owned the studio and engineered wouldn't even talk to us. Mm-hmm. Fred Betchen reached out and, you know, read us the riot act. We got our shit together. We were still playing shows, and the shows were great because we were pissed off at each other. And, you know, we were really letting it go. Yeah. But in the studio, it was just, we were too close. It was too intimate. There was too much unresolved garbage. Right. But we got it all together. We cut like 18 songs. Over about 5 days. Once we got our heads right, sure, it worked. Mm-hmm. And then Fred says, I'm going to sit with this for a little bit, and you know, I'll get back to you when I'm ready to master. Mm-hmm. And Fred actually sent all our raw stuff to Electric Ladyland, which was just reopening. Okay. We were the first band to go through the new Electric Ladyland. Oh wow. And the record came back, and we sat down with him. He says, so I'm not going to tell you, but we're going to A-B. You know, this is my version. This is the other version. We ended up using mostly Fred's stuff, but there were like 3 or 4 of the, the Electric Ladyland ones that we really liked. And then when we were on a lot of comp skateboard stuff, we were on a video game, pirated, we never saw a dime.
Right.
But those other versions would be used on the comps. They were a little cleaner. They were a little more produced. And that's why we didn't like them. It didn't,
okay.
It was us, but it didn't sound like us.
Right.
But we used it, we still used it. And, to this day, that's something I'm still super proud of. Most people, they're like, Electric Ladyland, what's that?
Right.
Like,
yeah.
It's Hendrix's studio. Like, come on.
Yeah.
And it's just dumb. Like, again, these 4 morons from Buffalo, no money, no connections, no clout, just idiots, that are playing loud, obnoxious, stupid music with, a bunch of substances in their bodies. And, here we are on Electric Ladyland. Like, how'd that happen?
Yeah.
Around that time, we were invited to play Warped Tour. And the first time I gave up my apartment and was living in the shitty van we bought. And about 2-3 days before we were supposed to go, the singer flaked. He's like, I'm not going. I can't leave my parents. I can't leave my job. I'm like, I don't have an apartment anymore, bro.
Right.
Like, are you kidding me? And the deal was we were going to go do West Coast, and we had so many dates. And if we did well, we would continue to play until we got back to Buffalo, and then we'd be home. First one didn't happen. A year went by. We didn't hear nothing. We didn't think of it. It didn't register. And the year after, one of the guys from the record label was like, hey, I reached back out to Kevin Lyman. He would love to have you guys again. Like, but you need a babysitter. Like, we know, So we had 2 different people lined up. One was going to do one leg, one was going to do the other. And again, I gave up my apartment, and I had sold a bunch of stuff. I had put stuff at my mother's house in storage. And I had a bass, I had an amp, and I had a backpack with some clothes. And again, like the day before, our drummer flaked. Now, to be fair, at the time, like, I don't know, I'm 23, 24. Our drummer was like 16, 17. And he had never been away from his parents for more than a couple days.
Right.
He never had like a job. He had never, none of it.
Right.
And it shook him. And, in response at the time, we were all assholes about it. But, I get it. And we weren't asked again. But, c'est la vie.
Right.
After that, Warped Tour changed anyway. I don't know that I don't think it would have been for us anymore. We were, not that we were too old, but the vibe behind it changed. The fan base behind it changed. And there was a lot more money thrown around for higher level big stage bands. And that generated a structure for how the rest of it operated. And we were not those guys.
Right.
You couldn't put Yoo-Hoo chocolate drink t-shirts on us or, have us sitting in a Pontiac Vibe. Like, we weren't going to do it.
Right.
We'd show up.
Yeah.
We'd be drunk. We'd break the window. We'd throw up in the car, and, we'd probably take somebody's girlfriend. One of us anyway. But we were stupid kids. It's
So now, when did you make the transition from being a stupid kid to kind of?
Oh, I'm still a stupid kid.
Oh, are you okay?
Yeah. I mean, I've learned some things over the years. I've learned that the party and the booze and the drugs and the casual hookups and all that kind of stuff. 1, it's not sustainable. 2, it's not healthy physically, emotionally, or mentally. And 3, it's superfluous. You don't need to drink a bottle of Jack to get on stage.
Right.
You don't need an 8-ball to be the guy for the night. You don't need to be trying to make it with every single girl that walks through the door. You don't need to try to make it with any girl that walks through the door. you need to give the good performance,
Mm-hmm.
and you need to do your job.
Right.
You know, as much as it's glamorous and fun and stupid and silly,
Yeah.
it's still a job.
Right.
You know, getting on the stage and whether it's for 20 minutes or it's for 3 hours, for that time, your job is to entertain and touch whoever's there, willing to be like, what are you doing?
Right.
You know? And it took me touring all across North America with a heavy thrash band,
Mm-hmm.
doing lots of dope and drinking too much and, you know, putting myself in risky positions, and, you know, coming off of that, weighing 150 pounds, not sleeping, you know, just racked, you know,
Right.
totally racked at like 28 years old. You know, I it's like, wow, this is kind of dumb.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't need to do that.
Right.
And, you know, I'm not downing anybody for what they do,
Mm-hmm.
but I know for me and, most of the people that are around me, we don't need to do that,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And, since then I've had 2 kids. I'm
Right.
married now. Like, that's a whole trip. I never thought that would
Sure.
happen.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't think about like, oh man, I miss the cocaine, or oh
Mhm.
man, I miss the, you know, 16 blowjobs I got. Like, it's all bullshit,
Yeah.
you know? What I miss when I'm not doing is I miss being on a stage.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I do miss being in the back of that dirty van with 2 or 3 other filthy dudes where,
Mhm.
you know, we're all malnourished and filthy.
Mm-hmm.
Because in those moments, whether you're driving 50 miles or you're driving 1,000 miles, it's whoever's in that little bubble
Mm-hmm.
against the entire world.
Right.
You're watching each other's backs. You're protecting each other. You try to keep each other from doing dumb things. And you have to trust each one of those people.
Right.
You know, as much as you can possibly imagine, like, times it by 10.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you can't trust that guy or that woman
Sure.
who's in your group, like, you ain't got a group.
Right.
You know, you got a couple people that are trying to do something. And those are the most important things I've learned.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing that I really took away from my time on the road, was the real connections with people. Whether it was, you know, you're playing in we used to play the Lucky Dog in Worcester, Mass.
Mm-hmm.
That's where the Rolling Stones would do, you know, unannounced
Sure.
pre-tour shows.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And there's people that I met in Worcester that to this day, you know, Christmas, birthdays, middle of nothing. Hey, you know, you popped in my head.
Right.
We'll reach out to each other. You know, we know about our kids and jobs and, you know,
Mhm.
oh shit, you know, you had this thing and, you know, that thing happened, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Those relationships and connections are so ridiculously valuable to me.
Mhm.
Some of them were music people. Some of them were a random stranger that, you know, was walking by while you're leaning against the truck in Cincinnati, smoking
Sure.
a cigarette, waiting for doors.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, what are you doing here? And, you know, and all of a sudden there's this little connection that happens. And it's just, again, it's so stupid. Like, there's groups that come through Buffalo now, whether it's Infringement Fest or Music is Art or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And, one of them's Lazy Ass Destroyer. He's this little hip hop dude.
Mm-hmm.
He's from Cincinnati.
Mm-hmm.
And after we got to know each other a little bit, I asked him, you know, is this club still open? Is that club still open? He's like, how do you know that place?
Mm-hmm.
Played there. Or we were supposed to play there and we got there and somebody had been shot the night before
geez.
and nobody told us.
Huh.
So now we're stuck in Cincinnati with nothing to do for 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
We know a lot of the same people for the same kind of little connected reasons.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, well, it's not just me. It's this universal kind of thing. If you're aware and you're ready to have this thing instead of this, you know, superfluous, you know, oh, let's just get wasted. It's so it's so valuable.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to even put into words,
Right.
you know? And for me, the less words you can get around it, usually the more awesome it is.
Right. So now I'm going to kind of switch gears a little
Sure.
bit. So now how did you get connected with Mohawk Place?
So I played Mohawk Place as a very young person, when there was still a pool table and there was no big stage.
Right.
You know, Pete was great. You would see Robbie Takak bar backing in there still at that point.
Right.
I think Michael Doctor was still working there.
Okay.
It's a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
And when Rick Platt bought it, I didn't know he had bought it until just before he did the opening party. And Rick and I, we have the same birthday.
Okay.
He's a couple years younger, but Rick would ask me, you know, hey, can you do the door for a night or two, or can you come in and run the board, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, hey, you know, I'm not really doing anything. And eventually it was, these three guys aren't working out so great. Can you do this?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. And it went from 3 or 4 days a month to for almost a year, I worked every show. And then as he would watch me, you know, working with especially the touring acts, like I don't know, the Agnostic Front guys come in. And, you know, Vinny comes in, he's this big, but he's like 12 feet tall. His personality's so big. And he, oh my God, I haven't seen you since Dingbats in 2004. How you doing, you stumps? You know, it's like, Vinny, you remember me? Holy shit. Like, of course I remember you. Your band's fucking awesome. Your Mohawk was great. Like, you know, he knew who I was.
Right.
And those interactions, Rick would say that and he'd be like, how do you know all these dudes? Like, I toured relentlessly.
Right.
And like, if we were in New York and had time, maybe we're going to go to Vinny's tattoo shop, because if he ain't touring, he's at the shop.
Right.
You know, and if Vinny's there, maybe, what's his name from Prong is there. Tommy Victor might be there, you know, and it's like the thrash band, the Liquid Violence band, because we had this great reputation that no matter how messed up we were, no matter how crazy or Looney Tunes the music was or the crowd would be, we were on stage when we were supposed to be on stage. And for that 45 minutes to an hour and a half, you knew we were the band. And that was true whether we were doing our own tours or we were out supporting, you know, other big names. And like being in North Jersey at Dingbats, which it's like Mohawk. You know, it's this very storied, been there for a million years.
Right.
The owner went to Buff State.
Oh, no kidding.
So he treated us super good. We were like family. We would roll into Dingbats, and if we had a day off before or after the show, we would play those nights too. So there'd be nights we'd be on stage with Chris Caffrey, you know, the backup band for Trans-Siberian. Or, you know, we'd be on a show with Industrial Metal, Hansel and Gretel, or, you know, Municipal Waste. And not only would it be the people playing, but all those people hung out there.
Right.
You know, like all the people from the staff and crew of the Misfits, that was their neighborhood bar. Jerry's cousin Kenny, he retired from the road life, but like, that's where he went to have a Bud Light at 6:00.
Right.
Mark Rizzo would hang out there. So like we knew all these people because the owners and the bartenders would be like, hey, these are our buddies from Buffalo. Like great band. It's like Motorhead, but you know, better teeth and, you know, no accent.
Right.
And, you know, so we got to know all these dudes. And like, there's a guy named Dennis Kimek who taught Mark Rizzo how to play guitar. He's a backup hired gun. Dennis would take us around to all the, like, you had to know where it was places in Manhattan and Brooklyn and, you know, whatever. And like, you'd walk through an Italian restaurant, down 2 stairs, through a hole in the wall, and through a grate. And, you know, Alex Skolnick would be playing with a jazz trio in a bar that holds 20 people.
Right.
like we're this far away, from me to you away.
Mm-hmm.
And when he finishes the song, oh, hi, Dennis, how you doing? Who did you bring to meet? And, we'd chat with Alex Skolnick for a few minutes. Oh, I got to get back to the show. Mark Rizzo, the first time we met Rizzo was like that. And we walk in the bar, and like Rizzo played in Soulfly and like all these kind of, modern, really, really metal bands. And we walk in, he's playing a flamenco guitar, stand-up bass, and a very small jazz trap kit. And he's doing these flamenco and fado versions of Sepultura songs, Judas Priest tunes, and he's singing them. I'm like, holy shit, this is amazing. And it's like, oh, let me get you a drink.
Right.
And, we all get a Jack and Coke and, the stupid thing. And he's playing this music in this dump with 3 bar stools, and there's 6 people in there. And, that's his Wednesday.
Right.
Like, oh, you don't need a rehearsal space because you're playing 7 nights a week.
Sure.
That was phenomenal. So bizarre.
Yeah.
It's again, like in those moments, I'm thinking like, I really have a charmed life.
Yeah.
Like, who needs money when you got this?
Yeah. The true life of a rock star, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stupid.
Yeah.
So stupid.
Yeah. Well, Andrew, I can't thank you enough. Believe it or not, we're at the top of the hour.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Crazy.
It goes crazy. Yeah. I'm sure we could talk for
for
weeks.
days, I'm sure.
I'm sure you got a lot more stories in there. This has been fascinating.
Thank you.
This is not my world. I mean, you can see around here, this is not where, the music and stuff. So it's really interesting to me to hear these stories.
Sure.
And, it's just, and get a different viewpoint. That's the whole kind of point that I want to do with this podcast is, expand, and there's more than just one, genre of music. And
well, the genres, like, again, for me, like my grandfather was playing early country and hillbilly music.
Sure.
That's what they were calling it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I've played rockabilly, I played psychobilly and blues and R&B and hip hop and jazz. And I've played all the stuff. And as I've gotten older, regardless of what the stuff was, it's still me playing.
Right.
And I can go back and listen to whatever I've been a part of and like, that's me. And at the same time, like, as I'm putting together what I'm going to play or, how to compose or arrange this thing, it still touches on all that.
Yeah.
I still think like, oh, that's a Hank Williams thing. That little piece that I know that I got that from Hank.
Sure.
And this little thing came from here and this little thing came from here. Because to me, and this is wild too. If you're a punk rocker, a blues guy, a metal guy, or a rockabilly guy, and you're a white dude, black culture and black culture knows you.
Right.
Because it's all the same.
Right.
And at the end of the day, we're all the outsider, looked down upon, dirtbaggy people that just today, I was turning wrenches all day. I'm disabled, but I still have to work.
Right.
Now, tonight I don't have a rehearsal, which is, it's crazy.
Right.
But I have rehearsal tomorrow, Wednesday, Friday I have a show, Saturday I have a rehearsal. Next week it's the same thing. And I wouldn't want it any other way.
Right.
And whether I'm playing in a club downtown or I'm playing one of the black folks clubs, grown folks, black folks clubs, it doesn't matter.
Right.
I'm going to still have the same connections. I'm still going to touch people the same way, and they're going to touch me.
Right.
I'm going to pull something out of what that crowd or that person in front of me is giving off.
Sure.
So, the people will get all like, well, that's not for black people, or that's not for women, or that's not for these or those or the others. Like, are you stupid? We're all people.
Right.
We all bleed, and we're all trying to fucking find some semblance of peace and enjoyment here.
There you go.
So I'm all about it.
There you go. Well, Andrew, again, I can't thank you enough for coming down. This has been great. For everyone who's tuned in, I hope you've had just as much fun as we have. And as always, you can find the podcast where you get your podcasts at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Audible, YouTube, thebuffalohive.com, and of course, you can always find the podcast at rockabillygreg.com, where it's all about the music. And
Nice.
I'll have some links to where you can find Andrew and his bands playing out.
Yeah.
And hopefully we'll find some videos and some pictures and some
Oh,
other
yeah.
stuff. We'll get that up there on the website, and that way you can check them out. I know you've intrigued me. So and you said you record a lot of stuff, so you can see I got to get some hard copy stuff here for the collection. So
absolutely.
So for everyone, again, Andrew, can't thank you enough. Thanks for coming down.
Thanks for
and to
having
everyone
me.
who's tuned in. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye. In the Flamingo Lounge is made possible in part by CatsLikeUs.com, your online store for authentic vintage clothing and accessories. Buffalo Ironworks, an intimate live music venue and bar located in the Cobblestone District in downtown Buffalo. And by Diamond Hawk Golf Course and Pub, Western New York's premier golf course, restaurant, and banquet facility. At the Hawk, the bar is hopping year-round with live music every Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday, and some other nights, too. Tune in for a new episode every Saturday at 9 a.m. EST at rockabillygreg.com, where it's all about the music. Bark, Zoe, bark. Good girl.